Hey guys, today I will teach you how to find your dark side. By knowing your dark side, it can help you to understand your life more clearly. We all have friends, family, and coworkers who are usually pleasant and agreeable. The people we see regularly are usually pleasant and agreeable. They seem happy to be around us, are confident, socially responsible, and good at working with others. But sometimes we see them behave in ways that seem to different, opposite, or contradict what we know about them. People who act suddenly different than usual have a dark side to their character that they try to hide. According to psychologist Carl Jung, this is called the shadow. The shadow is made up of all the qualities that people don't like about themselves. People usually don't know they have a shadow because it operates unconsciously. The shadow is different for everyone, and how big it is depends on how many qualities people are trying to hide. When people reveal the dark side, it is almost as if another person is confronting us. Their face changes, and they might start to look and sound like a completely different person. It's like their shadow comes out. The shadow is the part of us that we don't want anyone to see. It's the part that is mean or lazy, or that does things we're ashamed of. Everyone has a shadow, and it comes out more when we're stressed or when we're hurt. Sometimes it comes out more as we get older too. The shadow is the part of ourselves that we don't like to think about or show to other people. It's the stuff we're ashamed of or that we try to keep hidden. Everyone has a shadow, and knowing about your dark side or shadow can help you to understand your life betterly. Follow these 4 clear and practical steps to find your shadow. 1. See the shadow. The most difficult step in the process is looking at the shadow, which is the dark side of ourselves that we try to ignore and try to hide. It's easier to focus on the bad qualities of other people, but it's important to remember that everyone has a dark side. If we don't acknowledge our own darkness, we're only half of a human. The best way to begin to understand your shadow is to look for indirect signs, as indicated in the sections above. For instance, take note of any particular one-sided emphatic traits in yourself. Assume that the opposite trait lies buried deep within, and from there try to see more signs of this trait in your behavior. Look at your own emotional outbursts in moments of extreme touchiness. Somebody or something has struck a chord. Your sensitivity to a remark or imputation indicates a shadow quality that is stirring, in the form of a deep insecurity. Bring it into the light. When you act like someone you don't like, it might be because you are pushing away a part of yourself that you don't want to acknowledge. It's important to be aware of the qualities you don't like in other people, because they might be qualities you have too. Everyone has a shadow side with qualities they don't like, but usually try to keep hidden. Try to remember times when you were younger and acted in a way that you now don't approve of. It can help you understand why you act the way you do now. So it's good to think about times when you might have been insensitive or cruel, and try to learn from those experiences. It's important to get in touch with the things that made you unique when you were younger, things that you may have been made to feel ashamed of by your parents or peers, emotions and interests that you may have lost touch with over the years. This can help you rediscover the authentic parts of yourself. Finally, look at your dreams and see what they mean. Your dreams are like a secret window into your shadow. The shadow is the part of you that you try to keep hidden from everyone, even yourself. Dreams are one of the ways that your shadow communicates with you. It's important to pay attention to your dreams and to write them down so you can remember them later. Pay attention to the feeling tone of your dreams and what they make you feel during the day. 2. Embrace the shadow. It can be difficult to accept the parts of ourselves that we don't like, but it's important to do so in order to be a whole person. We should work to integrate our shadow self into our personality, rather than just pushing it away. Abraham Lincoln loved to analyze himself, and he found that he had 2 different sides to his personality. One side was ambitious and almost mean, while the other side was sensitive and gentle. Both sides made him feel uncomfortable. For example, he loved boxing, and he would often beat up his opponents in the ring. In law and politics, he had a sharp sense of humor. Abraham Lincoln was a young politician with a lot of ambition. He was also quite mean-spirited, and liked to anonymously attack his rivals in the newspapers. One time he went too far and wrote some letters that made a politician so angry that he challenged Lincoln to a duel. Lincoln was embarrassed and vowed to never be so cruel again. He did not deny that he had a mean streak, but he decided to channel it into more productive activities, like winning debates and elections. Lincoln was a softy who loved poetry and animals, and he hated violence. He also got really sad sometimes, but he used that to understand people better. He cared a lot about the people who were dying in the war, and he worked hard to end it. Sometimes he jokes about them and seems comfortable with them. This makes him seem more real to people, and they can better relate to him than to other political leaders. Like Abraham Lincoln, you must accept your dark side and use it for good purpose. 3. Explore the shadow. The shadow is a part of ourselves that contains dark and primitive impulses. By exploring the depths of the shadow, we can access great creative energy. Our minds are more open and fluid when we're children. We make more creative associations between ideas. But as we get older, we become more closed-minded. We don't allow ourselves to be creative and come up with new ideas because they might seem irrational. However, some of the most creative people are the ones who are able to tap into their unconscious mind and let their imagination run wild. They actively engage their shadow side of thinking to tap into the power of the unconscious mind. Some of the most famous people like Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, mathematician John Hadamard, and microbiologist Louis Pasteur claims their important discoveries in the world were based on hunches or ideas that came to the scientists in strange ways, like in a dream or while taking a shower. This means that sometimes the best ideas come when we're not even thinking about them very hard and just letting our minds wander. The conscious thinking we depend on is quite limited. We can only hold onto a small amount of information in our short and long-term memory. However, the unconscious part of our brain contains an almost limitless amount of information from our memories, experiences, and things we have learned. After researching or working on a problem for a long time, when we relax our minds in dreams or while we are doing something else that is not related, the unconscious part of our brain begins to work. This might cause us to have dreams, intuitions, or free associations of ideas. Usually we do not pay attention to these things or take them seriously. However, it is a good idea to develop the habit of using this form of thought more often. This will help us to consider more options and pay serious attention to what comes to us in less conscious states of mind. You must want to explore your own dark impulses, even the criminal ones, and find a way to express them in your work or externalize them in some fashion. We all have aggressive and antisocial desires, even toward those we love, and we also have traumas from our earliest years that are associated with emotions we prefer to forget. The greatest art in all media somehow expresses these depths, which causes a powerful reaction in us all because they are so repressed. 4. Show the shadow. We all have to follow social codes, which sometimes make us suffer. We have to act nice and agree with others most of the time, and we can't seem too confident or ambitious. This makes us feel comfortable by fitting in, but we also become defensive and secretly resentful. Being nice becomes a habit, which can turn into timidity, lack of confidence, and indecision. Our shadow will also sometimes come out, which is the part of us that is unconscious and often harmful. The people who are successful in their field, most of them are less bound by codes, which means they're more assertive and ambitious. They don't care what others think of them, and they're not punished or criticized for it. Classic example is Steve Jobs. He was a very successful businessman who was also known for being very difficult to work with. People often admire his creativity and success, but forget that he was also known for being very rude and not listening to others. His ability to go his own way and be a bit rough about it were key parts of his success. If you're nice to everyone and always do what others want, you'll end up getting taken advantage of. It's better to start standing up for yourself, even if it means making some people upset. Don't worry about what others think of you and be proud of who you are. The shadow is the part of our personality that we don't want anyone to see. It's the things we are ashamed of, like being mean or feeling sad. Showing our shadow to someone else is like getting rid of it, because it's no longer hidden. It's also a good way to become more real and authentic. By following these 4 practical steps, you can find your shadow and be a more real and authentic. Hey, thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. It will make my day.